Ladies and gentlemen, listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you isn't theory, it's not philosophy, and it's not some random inspirational slogan you scroll past on your phone. It's a challenge, a direct challenge. And if you accept it in just 7 days, you will look in the mirror and whisper to yourself, thank you. Why? Because transformation doesn't require a lifetime. It doesn't require waiting for the perfect moment, the new year, or some magical sign from the universe. Transformation requires decision, and decision creates momentum. And momentum, my friends, is the force that reshapes everything. 7 days, that's all I'm asking from you. 7 days of absolute commitment. 7 days of interrupting your patterns, shifting your focus, and demanding more from yourself than you ever have before. Now, hear me, the reason most people never change isn't because they're not capable. It's because they give themselves too much time. Time to negotiate, time to procrastinate, time to excuse. But when the clock is ticking, when the deadline is real, something inside of you wakes up. That fire, that urgency, that's what we're going to unleash. So here's what we're going to do for the next 7 days. You are not going to live on autopilot. No more snooze button. No more, I'll start tomorrow. You're going to take control, radical control over 3 things: your body, your focus, and your language. Your body, move it every day. Not when you feel like it, every day. Push it, shock it. Remind yourself that you are alive, not some machine coasting through life. When your body is on fire, your mind follows. Your focus for 7 days, you cut out the garbage, the complaining, the comparison, the distractions. You decide, what do I want? What am I after? And every morning you lock onto it like a missile, unwavering, unstoppable. Your language, their words, are power. The story you tell yourself determines the life you live. So for the next 7 days, you delete the weak vocabulary. No more, I can't. No more, maybe. No more, someday. Replace it with I will, I must. I'm doing it now. And let me tell you, your brain, your emotions, your very identity, they adapt fast. In 7 days of intensity, you can shatter years of stagnation. You can create a momentum so strong that when you wake up on the 8th day, you'll be standing taller, breathing deeper, and saying with pride, thank me for having the courage to start. So I'm not here to inspire you for a moment. I'm here to challenge you for a week. 7 days, no excuses, no half effort, no quitting. 7 days from now, you will either look back and regret that you wasted another chance, or you'll look in the mirror, smile, and say, thank me. The choice is yours. Decisions create momentum, not time. Most people wait for the right time, the perfect season, the ideal opportunity. But the truth is, time is never the real factor. Time doesn't change you. Time doesn't decide your destiny. It's the moment you make a real, unshakable decision that shifts everything. Decision is the spark that ignites the fire of transformation. Think about it. Every breakthrough moment in your life didn't happen because days passed by. It happened because you reached a point where you said, enough is enough. I decide to change. I decide to move. I decide to act. That instant choice creates a ripple effect. It changes your state. It changes your focus. It changes your actions. And suddenly momentum builds. The reason so many people feel stuck is because they confuse waiting with preparing. They sit around hoping time will do the work, that somehow things will improve if they just let days, months, or years pass. But waiting does nothing without decision. You can wait an entire decade and still be in the same place, but one decision made in a single second can alter your trajectory forever. The secret lies in understanding that decision is not passive. It is not wishing. It is not hoping. It is not saying I should. A decision is final. It cuts off every other option. The Latin root of the word literally means to cut off. That means when you decide, you eliminate the possibility of going back. You shut the door to hesitation. You burn the boats and you move forward. This is where momentum is born. Momentum doesn't come from dabbling or testing the waters. It comes from the energy that builds when you commit fully. Picture a rocket on the launch pad. The fuel has been sitting there for weeks, months, even years, but nothing happens until ignition. Decision is that ignition. Without it, all the fuel in the world is useless. But the moment ignition happens, everything changes. Everything is in motion. Everything accelerates with unstoppable force. When you decide, you create clarity. Suddenly your mind is no longer scattered between a dozen choices. The fog lifts. You know where you are heading. And that clarity sharpens your focus like a laser beam. This focus then drives your actions, and actions repeated consistently create momentum. And momentum is powerful because it compounds. At first, it feels like pushing a heavy boulder uphill. It's hard, it's exhausting, and many people quit right here. But if you keep pushing, eventually the boulder tips, and now it rolls on its own, gathering speed, gathering force, becoming unstoppable. That's what decision does. It transforms the hardest, most daunting climb into unstoppable acceleration. You don't need endless time to achieve result. You need to decide and start building that force. Right now, the human brain thrives on certainty, and decision provides it. Indecision breeds anxiety. It drains energy. It paralyzes people. When you sit in limbo, your mind constantly churns with questions, doubts, fears. But the second you decide, your brain shifts. It knows what to focus on. It knows where to direct energy. The confusion vanishes and energy surges forward. Decision literally rewires your psychology. This is why successful people appear confident, even fearless. It's not that they have more time or less fear. It's that they decide faster. They cut off hesitation before it can multiply. They understand that clarity is created by action, not endless contemplation. So they decide, they act, and as they act, momentum carries them. Look at any great achievement in history and trace it back to its origin. You will always find a decision to rise, to fight, to create, to risk, to break free from the comfort zone. The time they had was no different from yours. They had the same 24 hours, the same 7 days in a week, the same ticking clock. What set them apart was not time. It was their willingness to decide when others delayed. That decision propelled them forward, and forward motion gave them momentum. Momentum then attracted opportunities, resources, people, and results. Suddenly, the world seemed to conspire in their favor, but it wasn't luck. It was momentum born from a single powerful decision. You can feel the difference even in your own life. Think of the times you lingered in indecision, maybe about a job, a relationship, a project. You probably felt drained, restless, maybe even hopeless. Now think of a time you finally made the call, even if it scared you. Remember the surge of energy, the sense of freedom, the rush of clarity. That's the magic of decision. It doesn't guarantee instant success, but it guarantees motion, and motion always beats stagnation. You can refine, you can adjust, you can redirect, but none of that is possible until you decide. Decision cracks the ice. It breaks the dam. It lets the current flow again. Momentum is not some mysterious force only available to a few chosen people. It is available to you the moment you decide to commit fully. The reason some people seem to achieve so much in so little time is because they compress years of hesitation into moments of decision. They don't waste energy spinning in circles. They point themselves forward, and once they are in motion, they ride the wave. That's why 7 days of full commitment can feel more transformative than 7 years of waiting. Because in those 7 days, every cell of your body, every thought in your mind, every ounce of your energy is aligned behind one decision. And when all of you is aligned, momentum is inevitable. So understand this deeply. Your life will not change because time passes. Your life will change because you decide. And once you decide, you unleash momentum. And once momentum is unleashed, the results that once felt impossible suddenly start chasing you. 7 days of radical focus can break years of stagnation. Most people underestimate the power of short, intense bursts of energy. They think change takes decades, that transformation is a slow, grinding process, but the truth is a week of absolute commitment can disrupt old patterns that have changed you for years. Stagnation is not about lack of time, it is about diluted focus. It is about scattering energy across 1,000 distractions, never giving enough concentrated attention to anything to actually move forward. When you decide to compress all your attention, all your energy, all your discipline into a focused window, something remarkable happens. You shock your system. You wake up your mind, your body, your emotions. You break the rhythm of passivity and ignite momentum that refuses to stop. Think about water dripping on stone. 1 drop does nothing. 2 drops do nothing. But consistent, focused pressure carves valleys, reshapes landscapes, moves mountains. Your life is the same. When your energy is scattered, when you half commit to everything, nothing shifts. But when you channel all your power into one direction, even for 7 days, you can break through walls that felt immovable. Radical focus is the amplifier of results. It takes what is already within you and magnifies it. And the truth is, you already have what it takes. You are not lacking resources, intelligence, or ability. What you lack is focus, the kind of unshakable, disciplined focus that says, for the next 7 days, nothing else matters. For the next 7 days, I am all in. Years of stagnation are built on habits of distraction. Every time you say yes to comfort, yes to delay, yes to scrolling, yes to excuses, you reinforce chains that hold you down. But chains can be broken, and they don't require a lifetime of effort. They require a burst of focus force. Imagine a lock rusted shut for years. Wiggle at it half-heartedly and nothing happens. But strike it with intensity, with precision, with all your power at once, and it shatters. That is what 7 days of radical focus can do for your life. It can smash through years of half, effort, and indecision. It can destroy the illusion that you are stuck forever. It can show you that momentum is always one decision and 7 days away. Radical focus means cutting off everything that dilutes your energy. It means saying no to distractions that offer momentary comfort, but steal long-term growth. It means eliminating the trivial, the unnecessary, the constant noise. It means locking your eyes on one outcome and refusing to blink. For most people, this feels uncomfortable because they are addicted to scattered energy. They are addicted to variety, to business, to the illusion of productivity. But business is not progress. Focus is progress. In 7 days, if you channel all your mental, emotional, and physical energy into one direction, the compound effect is staggering. What felt impossible on day 1 becomes effortless on day 7 because momentum builds and carries you further than you imagined. When you live with radical focus, time bends. Days feel longer because you are fully present. Hours expand because you are not wasting them on meaningless distractions. Your productivity triples, your clarity sharpens, your energy rises because your mind is not torn in 100 directions. You begin to see how much of your life was being drained by noise and clutter. The fog lifts, and for the first time in years, you feel in control. You realize that your potential was never lost. It was just buried under layers of distraction and hesitation. In a single week of radical focus, you can peel back those layers and rediscover your power. The human brain is designed for focus, yet the modern world pulls it apart. Every notification, every headline, every distraction fractures your attention, and fractured attention equals fractured results. Radical focus is about taking back your mind. It is about declaring war on distraction. It is about reclaiming the ability to channel your entire being toward what matters most. And once you experience the power of this level of focus, you will never again underestimate what you can do in a short period of time, because you will see with your own eyes how 7 days can transform your state, your habits, your results. Years of stagnation create the illusion that you are stuck forever, but stagnation is never permanent. It is simply momentum in the wrong direction, momentum of inaction, of excuses, of delay. The antidote is momentum in the right direction, and momentum is created by focus. When you live 7 days with radical intensity, you flip the script. You stop feeding the habits that kept you stuck and you start feeding the habits that propel you forward. Every action you take reinforces your new identity. Every day of focus strengthens your belief that change is possible. And belief is the ultimate catalyst. Once you believe again, once you see that you are capable of creating visible results in just a week, the years of stagnation lose their power over you. The truth is, you don't need 100 steps. You need 1 week of total commitment, 7 days to prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses, that you are bigger than your distractions, that you are capable of shifting your life faster than you ever imagined. 7 days where you live intentionally, where you control your time, your focus, your energy with absolute discipline. And when you do this, the impossible starts to look possible. The mountain starts to look climbable. The wall starts to look breakable, because radical focus doesn't just change your results. It changes your identity. It makes you see yourself differently. It makes you realize you are not stuck. You are simply unfocused. And once you know that, you can never go back. That is the secret to breaking years of stagnation. Not time, not waiting, not hoping, but 7 days of relentless radical focus. 7 days where you cut off everything that doesn't serve your highest outcome. 7 days where you pour every ounce of yourself into becoming the person you know you can be. And once you experience that shift, once you taste that momentum, once you feel that surge of power, you will never again underestimate the force of radical focus. Control your body, focus, and language to shift your life instantly. Most people think change starts on the outside with circumstances, money, opportunities, or luck. But the truth is, transformation always begins with the state you put yourself in. And the fastest way to change your state is through your body. The body is the foundation, the vehicle through which your emotions and energy are expressed. If your body is sluggish, collapsed, drained, you can't expect your mind to operate at full power. But if your body is alive, upright, filled with energy, breathing deeply, moving powerfully, then your emotions shift instantly. It's impossible to stand tall, breathe strong, move with energy, and feel weak at the same time. Controlling your body is controlling the gateway to your emotions. That's why a workout, a run, a powerful stance, or even just 10 minutes of movement can change your entire day. The body is the ignition switch to your state, but the body is only the beginning. Once your physiology is aligned, you have to control your focus. Where focus goes, energy flows. Most people live in a fog of distraction. Their attention hijacked by what's urgent instead of what's important, by what's negative instead of what's empowering. Focus is a filter, and the quality of your life is determined by the quality of the filter you choose. If you focus on problems, you drown in problems. If you focus on opportunities, you see possibilities where others see dead ends. If you focus on what you can't control, you shrink. But if you focus on what you can control, you expand. Focus is the magnifying glass of your mind, and whatever you place under it grows stronger. The moment you decide to direct it with intention, not reaction, you begin to shape your reality. This is why some people thrive under pressure while others collapse. They choose to focus on what empowers them, not what paralyzes them. Now comes the third force language. Words are not just sounds, they are commands to your nervous system. The language you use shapes the emotions you feel, the meaning you attach, the story you live. Say, I'm devastated, versus I'm a little upset, and feel the difference in your body instantly. The words you choose are like codes that program your brain. People who constantly say, I can't, I don't know, it's impossible, are wiring themselves for helplessness. People who replace those with, I will, I must, I am figuring it out, are wiring themselves for power. Controlling your language means controlling your internal narrative, and your narrative is your destiny. Every time you speak, you reinforce either your limitations or your possibilities. That's why champions use empowering language relentlessly. They feed themselves words that fuel action, confidence, and certainty. When you align these three, body, focus, language, you create instant transformation. Most people try to change their lives by starting from the outside in, waiting for conditions to change before they feel strong, confident, alive. But when you flip the order and begin from the inside out, you discover that the shift is immediate. Change your body, your emotions follow. Change your focus, your direction follows. Change your language, your identity follows. You no longer wait for the world to give you permission to feel powerful. You generate the power within yourself. That is freedom. That is control. That is transformation at the speed of decision. Consider someone who wakes up feeling tired, defeated, and unmotivated. Their body is slouched, shoulders drop, breathing shallow. Their focus is on how hard life is, how many things are going wrong. Their language is filled with complaints. I can't do this. I'm stuck. Nothing works for me. That combination is a recipe for paralysis. Now imagine in that same moment they stand tall, breathe deeply, move their body with intensity, maybe even shout with energy. They decide to focus on what they want, not what they fear. They start saying words like, I've got this, I will figure it out, today I dominate. The circumstances outside may not have changed at all, but the person is different. Their state has shifted, and when state shifts, behavior shifts. And when behavior shifts, results shift. The beauty of this tried, body, focus language is that you don't need anyone's permission to use it. You don't need money. You don't need resources. You don't need a perfect situation. You have access to your body right now. You have control over your focus right now. You have the ability to choose your words right now. That means you can create change in an instant, no matter what is happening around you. People spend years waiting for change to arrive, but the power to create it has been within them all along. The challenge is to break the unconscious patterns of letting the body slump, the focus drift, and the language spiral into negativity. Once you become conscious of these patterns, you can interrupt them and install new ones that empower you. It doesn't matter where you are starting from. If you feel stuck, start with the body, move it, shake it, break the pattern. Do something radically different than what you normally do when you feel down. That alone interrupts the cycle. Then redirect your focus. Ask yourself empowering questions. What can I do right now? What am I grateful for? What is my outcome today? Your brain is a problem-solving machine, and when you give it a new target, it finds answers. Finally, upgrade your language. Speak to yourself like a leader, not a victim. Words like, I will, I must, I choose create a sense of certainty that fuels action. Repeat it until it becomes automatic. This is not pretending it is programming. You are rewiring your nervous system to operate at a higher standard. This is why breakthroughs often look sudden to the outside world. People think someone changed overnight, but the truth is they finally aligned body, focus, and language in a way they never had before. That alignment created a new state. That new state created new actions, and those actions produced rapid results. It wasn't magic, it was mastery of self. And once you realize you have that power, you stop waiting for life to improve. You start creating improvement every day. You stop being a victim of circumstance and start being a master of your state. And the one who masters their state masters their destiny. Urgency awakens the fire within. Deadlines drive transformation. When people live as if they have forever, they lose the spark, they dilute their drive, they push everything that matters into the fog of someday. Someday is the graveyard of dreams. Nothing meaningful ever gets done there. Urgency, however, is the force that wakes you up. It is the clock ticking, the realization that time is not infinite, that this moment is slipping away, that you cannot buy back a second once it's gone. Urgency takes potential and turns it into action. It strips away excuses. It burns away hesitation. Deadlines are the tool that channel urgency into power. Without them, the human mind drifts. It negotiates with itself. It postpones. With them, the mind sharpens. It commits. It finds a way. Think about every major breakthrough you've had. Most likely it came in a moment of urgency. Maybe you were pushed against the wall. Maybe you had no choice but to act. Maybe the clock was running out. And in that moment, you tapped into a part of yourself you didn't even know existed. Urgency pulled it out of you. Urgency forces you to collapse time frames, to do in days what you once thought would take months. It's why students cram and produce more in one night before a deadline than they did in weeks of preparation. It's why businesses innovate when the market threatens them. It's why individuals make radical changes when their backs are against the wall. Urgency is not a weakness, it's a hidden strength because it strips away the illusion of comfort and forces you to discover what you're really capable of. Deadlines are not punishments, they are gifts. They create intensity, and intensity creates breakthroughs. Imagine running a marathon with no finish line. You would jog casually, maybe stop, maybe wander off because there's no urgency. But when you see the finish line ahead, something inside of you wakes up. Even if you're exhausted, you sprint. That's the power of a deadline. It gives you a finish line, a point to aim for, a reason to unleash energy you didn't know you had. Life without deadlines is like running without a finish line. You drift, you stall, you coast. Life with deadlines is a race where you summon speed, focus, and determination. Urgency is also the destroyer of fear. Most people hesitate because of fear, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment. But when the deadline is real, when the clock is ticking, fear takes a backseat. Urgency silences fear because there's no time to entertain it. Think of someone rescuing a child from danger. There's no hesitation, no paralysis, no self-doubt. The urgency of the moment eliminates fear and activates courage. You have the same courage within you, waiting for urgency to unlock it. That's why creating artificial deadlines, setting challenges with short time frames works so well. It forces you to act before your mind has time to drown you in doubt. When urgency is embraced, productivity skyrockets. Tasks that normally drag for weeks get completed in hours. Focus becomes razor sharp. You stop multitasking. You stop wasting time on trivialities. You cut out what doesn't matter because the deadline demands it. Urgency forces you to prioritize, to distinguish between what is essential and what is noise. Without urgency, everything feels equal and you waste energy on the trivial. With urgency, only what matters gets your attention, and that focus produces results at a level you never imagined. Urgency also fuels creativity. People think creativity comes from endless freedom, but too much freedom kills it. The best ideas are born under pressure when the mind knows it must deliver now. A deadline forces the brain to cut through clutter and access deeper levels of resourcefulness. It pushes you to think differently, to find shortcuts, to innovate solutions that comfort and excess time never would have revealed. Urgency is the mother of invention because it forces the brain to operate at full capacity. Instead of coasting on autopilot, when you set a deadline, you are not just scheduling time, you are commanding your energy. You are saying to yourself, by this moment, I will have moved, I will have created, I will have achieved. And that command awakens discipline, hunger, and intensity. Without deadlines, discipline fades, hunger dies, and intensity disappears. With deadlines, the fire reignites. You begin to live as if every day matters, as if every hour counts. And the truth is, it does. Life is short, time is precious, and urgency is the reminder of that truth. Urgency is not about panic. It is about purpose. It is not about running frantically. It is about moving intentionally. It is the recognition that waiting is the enemy of progress. Waiting keeps you average. Urgency makes you exceptional. People who live with urgency achieve in years what others take decades to do. They are not faster, smarter, or luckier. They simply compress time. They demand results now instead of someday. They live with the fire of deadlines burning in their hearts, and that fire consumes procrastination, laziness, and fear. Urgency is the great equalizer because anyone can choose it, anyone can set a deadline, anyone can awaken that fire. The greatest transformations in life don't happen slowly, they happen suddenly in bursts of urgency. A decision made with urgency followed by action with urgency creates momentum so powerful that it feels unstoppable. The tragedy is most people never experience it because they never set real deadlines for themselves. They wait for life to impose urgency on them through crisis, loss, or pain. But you don't have to wait for crisis. You can choose urgency now. You can create your own deadlines, set your own standards, raise your own stakes. And when you do, you tap into that inner fire on demand instead of waiting for the world to wake you up. This is why urgency is sacred. It is the reminder that you don't have forever, that the clock is always ticking, that today is the only day guaranteed. Urgency is the force that transforms desire into discipline, ideas into action, goals into results. And deadlines are the structure that channels this urgency, giving you the finish line that brings out your best. Urgency awakens the fire within because it reminds you that you are alive, that every second matters, That waiting is death and acting is life. Deadlines drive transformation because they demand the best version of you to step forward now, not later, not someday, but now. On the 8th day, you'll thank yourself for starting now. Gratitude doesn't only come when results are complete. It comes when you realize that you had the courage to move, to step into discomfort, to stop waiting and finally decide. The 8th day is not about perfection. It is about perspective. 7 days of discipline, 7 days of intensity, 7 days of urgency, and suddenly you wake up with a new lens. You see yourself differently. You see proof that you are capable of change, proof that you can interrupt years of patterns and replace them with momentum. That realization fills you with gratitude, not for luck, not for outside circumstances, but for the version of you who said yes, who started, who didn't let fear, laziness, or doubt win. Gratitude for yourself is one of the most powerful fuels for lasting transformation because when you respect the decisions you make, you build trust with yourself. Trust becomes confidence, and confidence becomes identity. On the 8th day. The mirror reflects more than a physical change. It reflects a new energy, a new belief, a new standard. Even if the outside world hasn't caught up yet, the shift within is undeniable. You feel different in your body, lighter in your spirit, sharper in your focus, stronger in your language. The 8th day carries a weight because it proves that momentum is real, that consistency compounds, that 7 days can reset the trajectory of a life. You don't just thank yourself for the results. You thank yourself for proving that you are not stuck. You are not powerless. You are not trapped. You are adaptable, resilient, and capable of directing your life with intention. The gratitude of the 8th day is deeper than external validation. It's not about applause. It's not about recognition. It's not about someone else noticing. It's about you knowing. You know you showed up. You know you followed through. You know you kept a promise to yourself. That kind of gratitude builds a foundation stronger than any compliment from the outside world. It creates a sense of self-respect that can't be taken away. When you thank yourself, you are affirming your own worth, your own commitment, your own strength. That self-gratitude is the seed of unstoppable growth because it means you are no longer waiting for others to acknowledge you. You are your own fuel. The 8th day opens your eyes to what's possible. You realize that if you can create a shift in 7 days, what could happen in 7 weeks, 7 months, or 7 years? The gratitude you feel is mixed with excitement because you see potential stretching out in front of you. You see that change doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to take forever. It just takes decision and action stacked day after day. Gratitude turns into hunger, and hunger turns into consistency. You don't stop at 7 days. You expand the game. You raise the bar. You stretch your vision. The 8th day becomes the springboard to a future you once thought was out of reach. It's important to understand that gratitude on the 8th day is not just emotional, it's physiological. Your body feels different because momentum has created energy. Movement, discipline, and focus have rewired your state. Your mind feels different because clarity has returned. You are no longer drowning in indecision and excuses. You are swimming in action and purpose. Your emotions feel different because language and focus have shifted your perspective. You are no longer spiraling in weakness. You are speaking power. You are choosing power. You are embodying power. Gratitude is the natural byproduct of this alignment. It pours out because you feel alive again. It's not forced. It's not a practice you read about. It's genuine appreciation for yourself. Most people spend their lives resenting themselves for what they didn't do, for the chances they didn't take, for the promises they broke. The 8th day reverses that cycle. For once, you are proud. For once, you feel admiration for yourself instead of criticism. That pride, that admiration fuels momentum more than anything else because it builds the belief that you can trust yourself again. Belief is everything. When you believe you can trust your own word, you stop breaking it. When you stop breaking it, you build consistency. When you build consistency, results become inevitable. The 8th day is not just gratitude. It is evidence that you can change, evidence that you can keep promises. Evidence that you are stronger than the old patterns that held you down. And what's most powerful is that this gratitude grows even when the results are small. Maybe in 7 days you didn't build a fortune. Maybe you didn't sculpt the perfect body. Maybe you didn't achieve the ultimate goal, but you built momentum, and momentum is priceless. You shifted the direction of your life, and that shift will compound if you keep it alive. Gratitude for the start is what guarantees the continuation. Without gratitude, people quit because they measure too soon and expect too much too fast. With gratitude, you stay because you see the gift in beginning, you see the reward in action, you see the victory in progress. The 8th day also teaches you that self-gratitude is not arrogance, it is necessity. You cannot build a life of fulfillment if you hate yourself along the way. You cannot sustain progress if you constantly punish yourself for not being perfect. Gratitude for your effort, your courage, your willingness to start is what keeps you moving forward. It's what makes discipline joyful instead of painful. It's what makes challenges opportunities instead of obstacles. Gratitude turns the grind into growth. It turns effort into pride. It turns pressure into power. When you thank yourself, you transform the journey from a burden into a blessing on the 8th day. You will realize that everything began with one decision. The decision to stop waiting. The decision to stop negotiating with fear. The decision to give 7 days of absolute commitment. That decision created momentum. Momentum created results. Results created belief. And belief created gratitude. Gratitude then feeds back into more decisions, more action, more momentum. It becomes a cycle of growth instead of a cycle of stagnation. And once you feel that cycle, once you taste that power, you will never want to go back. You'll thank yourself not just for the results, but for breaking the chains of hesitation, for daring to act, for proving that you have control over your destiny.